one of the things I've noticed that I do different than others is this, what I call bias to action. Like, we're not going to leave a conversation without you having at least 1, 2, or 3 actions to take, because I think this time spent together is so expensive for you, for me, frankly, that if we're just going to think deeply about things, come to answers that are likely, very likely to work, and then not turn them into actions and do them, and me not follow up and specifically see if you did them, but then just go to another meeting 2 weeks from now and start all over of super expensive time and ideate but not have done anything in between, to me is just like, my stomach curls when I think about that. So my coaching is all about driving towards an action. And I have a system, and the system is all about writing that down and checking to make sure it got done. And that's it. And I find it works with individuals, it works with teams, it works with companies, and it's called accountability. And it can be done in a micromanaging, shameful way, or it can be done in a, I'd like to help you succeed way. And of course, as a coach, you can stop coaching with me anytime. So it's much easier for me to make it feel like I'm trying to help you succeed way. If I'm your boss and giving you a paycheck and you're afraid to let go of the paycheck, then it can easily feel like I'm micromanaging you. But there is no difference. When I coach someone, I become their manager, period, end of story. And if by the 3rd meeting, they feel more successful, more engaged, more empowered, then they know the system works. And it's all written out. So they can just copy, paste, use with their team members, and then it works with their team members as well.
Let's look a little more closely at accountability, because this is one of my favorite topics. And I mean, the tools can be rusty, they can be even mediocre in a lot of cases, but if you use them routinely, it's a lot better than the person who has a pristine, perfectly sharpened tool that never gets used. And for me, and I've thought and written about this a lot as it relates to behavioral modification, which is what we're talking about in many respects, whether that's diet, exercise, quitting smoking, starting a new behavior, whatever it might be, New Year's resolutions, that accountability beats sort of elaborate planning most of the time.
I would say all the time.
All the time. Great. So let me read something. And this is, I believe this is either something written by you or your team. And I'd love to hear you elaborate on it. If we have to do something that isn't fun and we're alone, it is painful. But if we're in the presence of another human, then we're usually okay to do that thing which isn't fun. Who that other human is doesn't matter too much. It can be our child, our EA, or any other random person. Could you give an example of how this might work? Because I found this to pique my curiosity.
So I find that there are generally personality types that I encounter when coaching. And one big bucket is introvert versus extrovert. And obviously it's a sliding scale, but people generally fall one side or the other. And extroverts, I've noted, and I'm an extrovert, just feel more comfortable around humans. And there are these solo tasks. This goes back to, in the beginning, you talked about your anger, your frustration around having to do these administrative tasks that don't create any value, but only you can do them because you're the only one, you're the investor, named investor individually. So only you can get the K1 and your assistant can't get it because she's not you. And it would a pain in the ass. And so you've got to do it. And you're probably doing it alone. And you're probably going, ugh. And so I have things like that as well. And plenty of extroverts have things. There's some amount of stuff you just got to do. Yeah. And so what I've noticed is in my own life, and I've recommended this to many people and they've done it and like, oh my God, that's amazing, is just having another living, breathing human in the room creates a sense of peace, enough of a sense of peace that these tasks no longer feel so annoying because our body is no longer so sensitized. We're sensitized. Extroverts are sensitized when they're in the alone position. But when they're not alone, their bodies just aren't as sensitized. And so these tasks become less onerous. And I've literally hired people to sit in my office with me on a couch reading a book while I do administrative tasks. And it works. Yeah. And I've recommended this to dozens of people and they now do it and it works for them.